As we always say, the end of the year or start of a brand new one is good for lists because there's space for discussion and debate. Who came out on top, what was the best match, and which pay-per-view was unmissable? We rarely agree, but that just adds fuel to the fire. For the sake of balance though, we also have to look back at the other side of the coin and figure out who wasn't able to get their mojo going. It sucks, but somebody's gotta do it. Furthermore, hopefully it means in 2019 they can have a change of fortune. Just for the record, worst here doesn't mean they're constantly rubbish or have no clue what they're doing between the ropes. It means from a momentum and character standpoint, 2018 is one they'll want to forget. There's also a few based on my own personal bias, because I think they deserve more. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and yeah, this is the 10 worst WWE wrestlers of 2018. Number 10, Curt Hawkins. One of those personal choices I just mentioned, I don't get why Curt Hawkins isn't used more. Clearly affable and happy to work with what he's given, he had a few cameos on Raw throughout the year which I enjoyed, but mostly was kept away from Monday and Tuesday nights. Can someone please tell me why? It's not like he didn't have a gimmick ready to go. While losing streaks are usually the death knell for most wrestlers, Hawkins embraces it with such glee he made it work. Who's he gonna lose to this week could have been a good running gag, but from nowhere he got a surprise victory. I bet that would have been proper feel good. Instead, he mostly hangs out on the sidelines, which makes me sad. His flash of something when he entered the Mixed Match Challenge was nothing more than a false spark, and I don't know what's in store for him now. I still like him and his passion for wrestling is clear. Hopefully a few more people will get that in 2019. Number 9, No Way Jose. Falling into the same category as my friend Curt, I don't get why No Way Jose was called up from NXT. What was a very entertaining gimmick that warmed up the crowd soon became Adam Rose Part 2, except with no character development. How could he when he just never appeared on Raw? I don't think he was put in one meaningful feud all year. Instead, he would pop up from the nether realm and there occasionally beat Jinder Mahal, and that was that. He was away again. Does anyone understand this, especially when a few more months or even a solid year in developmental would have helped him no end? Could have probably added a few more strings to his bow. When we bring people up with no clear plan, this is what happens, which is exactly why we shouldn't do it. We are in a new era now apparently, so fingers crossed that gives Jose a new lease of life. Number 8, Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose has potential. Clearly someone backstage has seen this too, as she made it onto the main roster pretty quickly, and there showed hints of someone already very comfortable in her role. WWE didn't do anything with her. All she really did was hang out with Sonya Deville for 12 months, and even when a program between the two was teased, it went nowhere. It was a bit like Sasha Banks and Bayley. They were friends, then not friends, then friends again. Okay. As the women's division continues to gain momentum, there's absolutely a place for her, and I hope that's the case. I think she gets her character too and could play the updated I'm better than you persona pretty well. But to do that, she has to be given more room to perform. That's the key part of the word performer. Give her more rope and let her fly. And even if she sinks, alright, we tried. That's what matters. Number 7, Titus ONeil. It seems like Titus ONeil is actually the best person on the planet. The amount of work he does for the community and help he's always ready to offer out is truly amazing. I couldn't respect or admire the man anymore, and every new story that comes out about him just enhances these feelings. He's one of the good guys, no question. When it comes to his 2018 WWE run though, well, there's only one thing to talk about. One! That is, of course, that at the Greatest Royal Rumble he tripped and slid under the ring. Now, while I'm sure that was awful for him, it was also unfortunately very amusing, and I appreciated that WWE tried to capitalize on it. With the right story, it would have actually made for some good TV, but instead we tried it for a couple of weeks and then stopped. Great plan. I guess you could also mention Titus Worldwide, but again, wasted potential. They didn't do anything of note all year, and even then their breakup just happened. There was no reason. Someone just didn't want them together anymore, so they vanished from television. Not the best idea. Given how awesome he is behind the scenes, I don't see why we can't echo that on Raw or SmackDown, and if nothing else, make him someone's manager. That not only ties into all his efforts outside of WWE walls, but he'd be good at it even if Titus's peak days are behind him. He can still be utilized, and he can still add to the product. Number 6, Bayley. I hate including Bayley in lists like this because it's not her fault. Just go back to when she debuted on the main roster and listen to that reaction. Everybody went crazy for her because we were excited to see her get her due. Then the hugger got booked into oblivion, and that was the case in 2018 as well. We've already mentioned the Sasha Bayley issues earlier, and that really did hold them both back this year, but it was also that Bayley wasn't given the opportunity to show what she can do in the ring. Remember all those classics she had down in NXT? Put her back in those positions. She's already proven she can do it. It's also bizarre there's been no additions to her character, although that's a problem in of itself. As opposed to being presented as a hero for children, she gets treated like she's an actual child. That wasn't the concept, and we still haven't changed course. I'm confident about 2019 because I think Banks and Bayley are going to win the women's tag team titles once they're introduced, and with the right approach, they'll smash that, will rejuvenate everyone involved. And it's nothing more than they deserve. Number 5, Bobby Lashley. Straight up, Bobby Lashley shouldn't be here. Aside from his look, which is ridiculous, he's already shown in TNA what he's capable of. Lashley is far more well-rounded than you'd know if you're only exposed to him in WWE. The real issue is that he just hasn't been given a chance. On the odd occasion he was, I thought he was quite entertaining, and I have no problem with his Lio Rush pairing. It worked, but again, it's what Bobby is asked to do, which makes no sense. The dude looks like he could kill you, and is told to shine his ass at everyone. What is that? Honestly, it's not rhetorical. I want an answer. It also wasn't ideal that he was booked into a segment where he had to see Sami Zayn dress his fake family in drag, because that cut his wings almost instantly. That obstacle course was much better, especially as Lashley destroyed it, but aside from that, he hasn't been given a fair crack of the whip. It's a new world next year and Bobby has all the tools, and again, the Rush partnership works. Just go more with his obvious threat and less about his glutes, and that's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Number 4, Nia Jax. I won't lie, Nia Jax is mostly here for shouting into the microphone, peaking it to horrible levels, and sending messages to my brain that I should just explode. That never works on TV because it's not good heat. It made me want to turn off because I couldn't take the risk of it happening again. Once was too much, we did it twice. Please don't do it again. Outside of that, it's been a topsy-turvy year for Nia. If we look at the latter half, a wayward punch that legitimately hurt Becky Lynch did get her properly hated by the audience, which only helped in terms of her perception, but it was also a wayward punch. I don't think anyone ever wants to see someone else hurt, and if you do, well, there's something wrong with you. It was the sheer rollercoaster nature of her progression that pulled the rug out from beneath her. A sympathetic babyface around WrestleMania as she rightfully underlined how awful bullying was, by December she was the biggest bully of them all. Is that good storytelling? Not really, because it just happened as opposed to being the plan. Jax has also had way too many broken friendships along the way, which is always going to result in diminishing returns, and raise the question why anyone would trust her again. Tamina should be watching every step she takes, because before long, she will suffer the same fate, or so you would presume. I also don't like that pairing, hence why we're here. Number 3, Jinder Mahal. One of those circumstances where his previous highs affect his 2018 lows. Jinder Mahal's fortunes have utterly reversed over the last 12 months, which is even stranger because it was the opposite in 2017. So he went from mid-card guy to world champion to mid-card guy to now mostly just a mixed match challenge guy. It's quite the ride. Oddly, the whole thing has made me feel quite sorry for Jinder, even though I'm sure he doesn't need my sympathy. All he did was work hard and make the most of an opportunity. What else could he do? This whole shanty thing has grown on me somehow as well. The Singh brothers dancing to R-Truth and Camilla's dance break does add to this, but let's face it, as Mahal is a former WWE champion, he hasn't done much of anything in 2018. It was almost like he was being punished for somebody else's decision. Remember when we teased that Mahal was going to break up with the Singhs too? That never went anywhere now, did it? Number 2, Bray Wyatt. Poor Bray Wyatt. Booked into oblivion to the point he had to vanish from TV this past year, the only question we have now is how he returns and when. A recent tweet didn't help with that. It sounded like history repeating itself, and that was the issue. Despite lighting up the WWE when he first arrived, before long he was losing match after match and not backing up a damn word he said. Hell, half of it didn't even make any sense. There was hope when he teamed with Broken Matt Hardy, but the tag team division is a tough place, and it soon petered out before even being given a chance. What could have been hilarious in the end was just there. Much like Mahal, it's the drop from grace that's hard to take. He was the champ at WrestleMania 33, now he's searching for a way back in. It does make 2019 exciting, because if we get this right, he'll be the talk of the town, but if we don't... Number 1, Shane McMahon. A mean one, I'll admit, but there has to be some comeback against Shane O'Mac being crowned best in the world, and this is it. Now, I will say that the whole tournament entertained me far more than it should have done, and McMahon winning had me in tears. It was the most WWE thing in the world. And hell, on paper, I guess it made sense if he was going heel. Problem was, we never jumped in that direction fast enough. As I'm sure you know, he is not the best in the world, and that's why he's ended up here. It's like a backlash, although I will say that he still gets mega pops when he comes out in front of a crowd, and if you're over, you're over. He could probably wrestle a little less in 2019, especially as we're meant to be pushing some new guys, and that's all I'm gonna say. Know of any other wrestlers that should be included in the worst WWE Wrestlers of 2018 list? Make sure you let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Then head on over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles, and follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. why not watch some more WhatCulture wrestling videos too? My name is Simon from WhatCulture, and I will talk to you again soon.